Good evening. This is Mike Smith with New Hampshire Track and Field, powered by Runner's Alley. Here with another installment of Around the Oval. Tonight, I'm going to be speaking with Larry Martin, Mr. New Hampshire Cross Country and Track and Field. On top of that, we've got two of the best from Cole Brown in Luke Kasich and Addie Cox joining us as well to kind of talk about how the season is going so far, and what it's like. I like to think of it as the Cole Brown experience, but what is it like growing up everything Cole Brown? So anyways, guys, how many meets have you been in so far?
Well, I've been in one actual mini meet myself because the Portsmouth one was canceled, but we were at Oyster River. And then another one I had was a home meet, but it was just inter-squad meet. We divided the team into two. Same with Addison.
Yeah, same with me. And we have a meet on Friday and Saturday. So. Yep. Yeah.
All right. And again, this is a lot different than what we've seen in the past. Meets are scaled down. Sometimes the events are scaled down, that you only see partial event schedule and stuff like that. So, based on not having anything go on last year, obviously anything this year is better. But, what's your general take with it so far?
Why don't I step in at this point too?
Perfect.
I've been working at some meets. I'm not coaching, but several schools have asked me to come over and sort of see how they're doing things, like I did during cross country. In the early part of cross country, I went around I went over to one of your meets over to Cole Brown to see how things were going, to see what we could do. And one of my biggest concerns with the meets was the clerking area, because if you think about a track meet, they always have a table set up somewhere. If you have automatic timing where everybody goes over and gets their hip number, and it's probably the most congested area in the meet. So I tried to come up with a way of dealing with that. So the meets that I've done so far, I've been clerking, and I've been doing it as I call it a roving clerker. Rather than having a fixed area where people go, I roam around with a portable mic, and I call people to the starting line, one event at a time, and just the girls first. When they come over, I keep the team separate. I keep the Londonderry kids and the Pinckney kids separate. And then I call them out one at a time. And as they come out, I have someone giving them their hip number, and then they go to the line. So it's always just one person coming out at a time. Probably the best thing about it, if someone is up in the stands looking down, taking photos of it, it really looks like we're working hard to follow the rules. So I've done that 5 times so far, and it's gone really, really well. And our meets have been pretty good size. I was at Merrimack on Tuesday, and they had 4 schools there. And it seemed to go, we finished in 2.5 hours, and it seemed to go fine.
I know one of the things that we've been in, Division III, smaller schools, smaller meets and stuff like that, and doing similar sort of thing, roving, but also just keeping the team separated from the other teams. And, when you stand around where the clerking is, we're not doing hip numbers or anything like that. So it's a little bit easier to not have as much contact and stuff. But in some cases, there's been spots where we've even put like paint on the ground, this heat stands on these dots, the next heat, and so on and so forth, so that they maintain their distance and everything like that. So again, same thing. Optics look really good because really everybody's been pretty conscious about trying to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to get the season in.
One thing that I've noticed, it seems like people aren't very prepared. I think that might have something to do with not having an indoor season. The times that I've been seeing haven't been terribly good. And the kids showing up at the line just don't seem very knowledgeable. Maybe that's because we didn't have an indoor season at all. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think you probably have that. And then you really have, you've got a set of sophomores and freshmen that have never run high school track before. So they're coming in
right.
fresh.
I never thought of that because we didn't have last spring and we didn't have winter. Yeah.
50% of the entries have never done it at the high school level anyways.
And it looks it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
And the people that were there hadn't done it in a year and a half, sometimes even 2 years for half the people. So
Yeah. So how has it gone for you two so far this season?
I think it's gone pretty well. I mean, granted, like even when we didn't have an indoor season, we were still training throughout. We still had practice and stuff. So I think like as a team, we're pretty prepared. So I think things
Yeah.
have been going pretty smoothly, and the meets that we've had have gone pretty smoothly. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the inter squad meet that we did, I think was essential to us doing well as a team at like other meets, because all the kids it kind of broke off the rust and people could figure out, okay, if you hear first call, you go report to your event and then
Yep.
go from there. And a lot of people learned from that.
We did that during cross country. We had an inter squad right to get things started because there weren't that many meets available. And I would agree with you 100%. Like it was just good to work through the mechanics of how things go so that your brand new freshmen and stuff like that didn't feel like the very first meet of the season was the first time they ever done it. And I can see how that would work very similarly for track and field, even more so where there's more technical aspects, make
Yeah.
sure you grab blocks if you're going to use blocks, those types of things. But I would have to also concur with Larry. You can definitely see both performance wise and just understanding how a track meet works wise has dropped off significantly than 2019 when we last had championships. And I think conversely, those schools like Co-Brown that have gone straight through training as if they were in season and stuff like that, you can see the disparity between teams that have done that and ones that are kind of starting all over again for the first time for 2 years.
I think one thing that's we're really going to notice is without having any invitationals this year, state meets are going to be bizarre because kids are going to be seated weird. I think you're not going to really know who the best kids are, and no one will run in a big meet before then. So
Right.
I just think it's going to be really strange. Some of the best kids may only run in 1 or 2 races before then. And their seed time may put them, 8th to 9th, but they may be the best person in the field. I think it's going to be a very strange division meets.
Yeah.
Well, that, and I think that compounded with the fact that by breaking up the genders, the meet's going to go a lot quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
When you think about your normal doubles and triples, and I'll be interested in asking Addie and Luke that as well, because obviously they could be under normal circumstances. I would assume they would automatically be doubling and tripling in order to manage
I
that.
never really thought
I was
about
talking about that with my dad the other day, actually, because we were.
I think it's going to be an hour between. I think it's going to be an hour between the mile and the 2 mile. I think
that's going to be rough because for the boys, at least, we're like in the contention for a Division II title. So
Exactly.
we're going to have to be in like a lot of events, and I don't think we've ever had events this close between each other. It's going to be like an hour, and the 800 to the mile, that's only going to be like, what, 30 minutes?
Well, especially
30?
remember,
Not even.
entries are being limited too. So there's going to be even less heats.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Another thing I think is going to be weird is the girls and boys teams do everything together in track and in cross country. And the girls team's biggest fans is usually the boys team. And the boys team's biggest fans are the girls team. So we're going to be at the only big meet we're going to be at this year. And your best fans aren't even going to be there. So that's going to be weird.
Mhm.
It will be.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'd like to get into now is like, I've been thinking about this for a long time. I was trying to recollect, and it's, it's interesting that it's Larry and I. Larry, I think the first, it would have been 2005 cross country. Co-Brown boys were pretty much at the top of the New Hampshire heat. I had a team that was just getting pretty good. My first time at New England's, we were up in Thetford. It was muddy, and that course is brutal to begin with. And I remember talking to you and you telling me that you were requiring all your guys to wear 1/2-inch spikes, whether they liked it or not.
Yeah.
I don't even think half my kids ran in spikes. I think they ran in, flats and stuff like that. And I believe, and I'm not sure if Luke and Addie were there, but I know they were there from that point on as elementary students.
Yeah.
And I just remember, that was kind of my first introduction to the Co-Brown experience. And then from that point on, I remember seeing Luke and Addie, and then, later Tyler and Aiden. Every time they won a championship, which seemed to happen most of the time, those kids were on stage. So I really wanted to ask them, what is the Co-Brown basically from birth to graduation been like?
Been pretty rewarding, to be honest, because like we've watched it our whole lives, and now we're involved in it, and both have had solid high school careers that I think both of us
Solid.
really
Yeah, solid.
imagine happening, like, and it's excelled what we thought. But on my dad's wall, I think he has a picture from 2005, their state championship.
Yeah, you were definitely there in 2005.
Oh wait, where? I don't know where it is, but I can find that, or I could just have my dad get it. But yeah, here's in 2013 the girls' New England championship. That's
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, there we are.
yeah. And then
So-
2003 we were just born.
Yeah. So I guess in some ways, here's my question to you. Like, so you've been around this your entire life. I guess, first of all, when did you start getting into running? And then like the second part of my question for that's not when you got into running, because you probably don't even know when you got into running, but like, when was it? Because you guys have done basketball and other things like that. When was it that you guys actually recognized, well, all these other sports are fine, but running is where it's at for you?
Well, I think for us, I'm sure Luke kind of feels the same way. We grew up going to all the meets and stuff with our parents, and we grew up being around the big kids who are running, and they're running really fast and winning all these championships. And I think that we wanted to be like them, and that's what got us into running. And that's kind of what, like, obviously we grew up running because of my dad and his dad and stuff as well. But I think a big part of it was us getting brought to all those meets with all the older kids and just wanting to be like them and stuff. And I think maybe in like 8th grade, I kind of realized, like, I was playing basketball and stuff at the time.
Yeah.
And I just realized that I'm a lot better at running than I am at any other sports. And I realized that was kind of the sport that I felt as though I was going to be the most successful at, if that makes sense. So.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing for me. Like, we started with NH Thunder, that basically we ran out of our backyards every days in the week. And that was through like when we were really young. And then probably same as Addison, after basketball in 8th grade going into freshman year, that was like the last sport I've done other than cross country and track. Probably after that, I realized, okay, I've got to start taking running more seriously and basically commit the rest of my athletic life to it.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
I'm
interesting. I'll go in now.
Yeah, go ahead, Larry.
You guys just brought something up that made me think back. My youngest daughter, Amy Sanborn, she's the coach at Londonderry now.
Yeah.
She also, ran like you guys from probably 5 years old on. But the way she started at it was almost like what you're saying. She used to go to road races with me.
Yeah.
And she didn't even run it first. I'd go to like a 10-mile road race. Back then, everybody that ran knew everybody. And so I would bring her and just leave her around there, and people would take care of her. I mean, back in those days, you actually would do that with a kid. I can't imagine you would go to a road race in Boston nowadays and with a 5 or 6 year old and just leave them at the finish starting line where you go and run. But she went everywhere with me. We lived in Durham, and I was in charge of the New Hampshire Indoor Track League, as I still am, but I had the keys to UNH. So during Christmas vacations, it wasn't uncommon for us to go up to the field house, and her and me would go in and run. So I think she developed the same way that you guys did. You were around it, you enjoyed it, it was a good experience, and you just kept going with it. How about having your fathers as coaches? See, I'll
We've
go into
had,
the
like,
controversial
papers-
stuff.
things in the newspapers about that, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really been a negative effect on either
Like
of.
we've also never known anything different either.
Yeah.
Very good. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Once we're both going to college in different directions, so we'll have it different. Although Addison is staying in New Hampshire, but
Yeah.
it'll be different than what we have now for sure. But I don't think it's been bad. Maybe you have
No, I
different.
think it's
Yeah.
interesting to have your coach living in your house with you. I think
Yeah.
like not a lot of people, no one really gets that experience. But I
You're
think
held to
it's kinda-
different standards. That's
yeah. But I think it's done nothing but benefit us. I don't know.
To be truthful, I think it probably was harder for your parents than it was for you guys. I had being a parent myself, because they have to not show favoritism, but yet they also know your ability, and so when you're not reaching that ability,
Yeah.
how do they get to you
Oh,
without?
they're definitely harder on us than
Yeah.
anyone else on the team.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. But I know my dad always says things like, "Right now, I have to think as your coach, not your dad," but vice
Yeah.
versa, like that kind of thing. Yeah.
And that sounds good. Very difficult to
Yeah.
do though, from that point of view. It's very easy to, when they look at you, Brett looks at you, you're his son.
Mhm.
You're an athlete, but you're also his son, and that also takes.
Yeah.
precedence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they both have done an excellent job, by the way, because I've seen you guys since the first banquets.
Yeah.
And I've seen you grow into young adults, and from when I picked on, I remember Luke, the only one that ever ordered
Oh,
an
yeah.
extra
Yep.
small T-shirt from the boys
Yep.
group, and
Yeah.
and
I was the
Addison,
first
you're-
one in history to have extra small.
yeah, and Addison, you were just like a little tomboy kind. Now you're a nice looking young lady. It's been fun.
Thank
It's been fun watching.
Yeah, I'd like to actually go back to, so you're saying basically the switch came in, at the end of middle school. Did you both go into like your senior or your 8th grade year playing basketball saying, I know this is it? Like this, after this, things change. After this, I become, a full-time runner.
Yeah.
I mean, not really for me, because my parents always said that you have the decision. But I know I said that I kind of like, I think after 8th grade year, I still played basketball in the summer going into freshman year, I believe. But then after that was where I changed.
I think it's difficult for a kid to leave basketball for indoor track.
I
that's
always
the
wanted
thing.
to run indoor track. I was really excited to run indoor track, actually.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same way, but I know basketball at the time, it was more fun. Like you don't have to go and feel like you're sore every day, and you get, but it's more rewarding to do running in the long run.
But the practices for indoor track though certainly get annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
So when we go back, so we look at your running career and stuff like that through the middle school. Addie, you had a pretty exceptional middle school career with 3 straight state titles, individual titles. Luke, not so much. You weren't actually that good in middle school.
Yeah, I probably wasn't.
Well,
Yeah.
I think when I forgot to bring the paper home, but I believe you were like, I don't know, 12th and then 7th. And then when we get to your 8th grade year,
probably like
number one guy was
that
Aiden
other
at that
Cox
point.
came along.
Well, not just that. So Luke wasn't even. Not only was he not the best guy on his team, he wasn't even the second best guy on the team. He I don't remember what he came in, but the guy that came in front of him from his team was Porter Higas.
Yeah.
Porter beat you as an 8th grader. You weren't that good, Luke.
Personally, I think it was because, like what you're saying with the extra small, I was even smaller before that. Like
you were
growing up, in middle school, honestly, it's just who's the biggest, who's the most developed, and at that age, and I just wasn't. So really it. And I didn't take it as seriously. That's for sure.
Well, this
And
was
also them,
sexist, but boys get older and stronger and historically better. Girls don't always. Sometimes they
I
get
just
bigger
beat
and
my
that's
middle
not
school
necessarily better.
PRs a year ago.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
didn't have-
Serious, I'm not kidding.
My middle
you
school
say, Addie?
mile PR was 4:52, and now I'm like far ahead of that.
yeah. No, I'm only giving you a hard time. And I think lots of times when you do look at that transition from middle school to high school,
Yeah.
those kids, like, it's not about just speed and athleticism. Training matters, endurance matters. And when we can certainly say that there's a difference in raw speed between you and Porter anyways, where he's more of an 800 guy. And you see that all the time, that those kids that perform really well at the middle school level. I mean, let's face it, here's a middle school race, right? Everybody goes charging out in the first mile. And really what happens is the person that wins is that slows down the least over the second mile. That's how.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
And it is only 2 miles.
I've gotten better at 400 speed. I just got a 53.01 in a 4x4 the other day. So
Good, yeah.
Was that downhill?
yeah. Downhill.
But anyway, and I was giving you a hard time on that, Luke, but things really changed when you guys stepped up to the high school, in the sense that, I mean, you and Wyatt are number 1 and number 2 on the team as freshmen. And when
we had Evan in front of us.
Oh, right. Sorry. 2 and 3. So, but I mean, I think what happened, after that point, I mean, when we look at the success that you guys had this year, that really got started your freshman year, and with you and Wyatt and stuff like that. And I think you dragged along the other guys kicking and screaming, whether they knew it or not. And at that point, that started to forge what was to be the Co-Brown dominancy, I think, that we saw this past fall.
Mm.
And so, no. So I was just going to say, while you it might not have been superb in the middle school and stuff like that, certainly elevated as soon as you stepped on, the cross country course your freshman year, and then for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Addie, sorry, go ahead.
I just was agreeing with you.
I was going to say, Addie, on the other hand, I think was a little bit different. You stepped up to the high school and the competition was stiff right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then of course we've got that junior year that I don't know that we want to say we'd like to forget it, because I think it's been integral into the person you've become today.
Yeah.
But you certainly wouldn't want to be trying to convince your coaches that your ability was on your junior year.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think it has definitely benefited me in the way that I've kind of learned how much I love running, because junior year was so hard and I couldn't really run. And I think that that's made me into like the runner I am now, because I just don't really take it for granted as much, and it makes me want to like train. It makes me really want to train, because I wasn't able to train for almost a whole year. So
what I mean, here's the question I would have loved to ask you, and I wouldn't have dared ask you, like, coming into this past season with that. Like, you must have had major questions. You must have been like, can I really step up and do what I know I want to do and what I can do?
No, there was a while my junior year where I was really not sure what was going to happen, because I just really could not like run really at all. And then when I would try to run, I wouldn't be able to run fast. And it was just it was really difficult, because like my dad, obviously, and he was like trying to get me to throw javelin and stuff so I could find something else to do. But then luckily I got healthy and I was able to get myself together, and now I can run.
So what was it like before your first cross country meet as a senior? What were you thinking?
I think, well, because in the spring last year, I was able to do time trials and I was
Right.
able to run like faster than I'd ever run up until that point. So I was feeling pretty confident going into cross country season, but I also wasn't really sure because I hadn't raced anyone in like almost 2 years, because I don't really count junior year as like me racing people, because I would like not be able to finish races and stuff. So I was definitely nervous because I didn't know how I was gonna react to competition and like racing all these other runners. But then after like the first couple meets, I realized that I can like hang with everyone, and it was good. So
Yeah, I mean, that must have been at some point during that season, you must have been like, this is what I've been waiting for.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I would think that that was probably a bit freeing. That probably gave you the opportunity to be like, you know what, the hell with it, I'm going for it. Like,
Yeah.
nothing's holding me back at this point. I'm, if I blow up, I blow up, but I am going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's been a really special few months, I'd say, because I've been able to stay healthy, and it's like my senior year, and so it's been really fun.
And for you, Luke, like, things are bittersweet in a different way, in the sense that, I mean, this was the team. This was the team. Not only was it the team to win D2s, to win Meet of Champions, and then, be certainly one of the front runners going into New England's. You would have been right there for Northeast for NXN, and I have no problem going out on a limb and saying that you guys would have been at nationals in that. And I think the thing that you guys can hold onto is the fact that all those things are true. Those things haven't changed just simply because of the situation we're in. All of that stuff's true. And like I said, I feel you guys would have been there, because if you hadn't finished top two in the Northeast, you definitely would have been. Northeast would have been pulling an extra bid, and you guys would have been there.
Yeah, I think for sure we would have been there, because we were ranked 8th in the nation, like, pretty easily by the end. And I just think we're coming together for the whole team, and we knew we weren't going to have nationals coming into it, so it was kind of hard at the beginning to think about it. But at the end, we realized, okay, we got to just work for Meet of Champions. That's all we really got. And New England's and regionals, that's thrown out the window, because we knew we could have gone for the New England title and potentially for the Northeast region title. But it's the same thing for everyone, so we're not too worried about it, because everyone's going through the same thing, and we all have bigger, better things ahead of us.
I agree, Luke, as far as you. I feel bad for kids in that position that aren't going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
You've got big things coming. I mean, I coached 3 New England championship teams, and many of the kids on those teams, the biggest thing they ever did in their life was probably winning the New Englands.
Yeah.
I see you doing more than that. I mean, you're going off to a really good college, but I'm sure you had kids on your team that didn't get that opportunity, and they may not have any other opportunity. So that, I'm not trying to be bad to you, but I feel more bad for them. You know what I mean? Because that opportunity is gone. And
I think a lot of them missed out on the opportunity because, like, when the pandemic started, we were just about to leave for indoor nationals. And obviously we weren't able to go. And ever since then, we've basically qualified for every single nationals except for cross country, which is up in the air, but we think we probably would have. We've qualified for all of them, but we haven't been able to go to a single one of them. So, like, I don't know, just kind of funny, but it's all right, and everyone's got to deal with the same thing.
I'm going to throw another tough question at you guys, okay? We talked about how it is having your dad as a coach. How is it with the other kids on the team? I think that's got to be awkward for you too, where, your dad is the coach, especially if you have kids on the team that maybe don't agree with him about things, and they start bitching about your dad, and you're there. How about some comments about that kind of stuff?
Larry's looking for the dirt.
Yeah, that's me.
I don't think like problems like that come up. I think if they have a problem with my dad, I just think they don't really talk to me about it, I guess I'd say.
Yeah, same with me. They would not bring it to us.
Yeah, I think it's kind of convenient for everybody on the team, because like if they have a question or something, they can just text me, and I just ask my dad because I live in the same house as him.
Yeah.
But I haven't really run into any like
I'll
issues.
tell
I'm
you-
assuming they just don't ask Luke and I if they have a problem with our dad. I'm assuming they just don't say anything to
They
us.
mostly just talk to them, not us. I'll find out from.
That
Just-
also means the kids like your dad.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
they're
think they
pretty
do.
well liked as
if,
far as
if your
coaches go.
dads were not liked by people, you would have heard more.
Yeah,
So
Probably, yeah.
you know what I mean? So that's really telling you that they did like them as coaches.
yeah.
So I want to ask you guys particularly about your senior year. Here we are coming towards the end of it. You guys got about 6 weeks left to go and stuff like that. If we look at, the beginning of it, cross country season, I really actually want to go a little bit further back because Luke, you had finished in your junior year, number one in Division 2, and then really had kind of a disaster of a meet of champions. And then Addie, you had stepped in to try to help run for your team in your junior year, and that didn't really go that well. But I would say that's not reflective, certainly at all of your senior years. And I'm just wondering, in Luke's case, the perspective that allowed him to go through that. And I'm thinking, when you look at that, the 2020 cross country meet of champions, I'm pretty sure, Luke, probably you felt that you were supposed to be in the front of that race the whole time.
Yeah, I did. Honestly, I did. And I started out in the front, and then I realized something was really wrong about 1 mile, and I was sick, and I didn't really know at the time.
Yeah.
But I just kind of finished for the team, and then was able to bounce back at New England's and do a lot better that week.
Yeah, I mean, and I say that because I had the guy that finished number 2 in that race, and I to me it was just a simple matter of like expectation versus preparedness, and not that you weren't prepared to run for the front, but having won Division 2s kind of automatically taps you as the guy or one of the guys, and sometimes it's hard to prepare for the next week when the expectation probably should be to go out there and run your best race versus going out there and lead the field because, damn it, I should be one of those people right up front.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of was with it, and I just knew something was wrong from the start, so I just kind of what I had to do by the end. Yeah.
Along that line, Luke, I used to always tell my kids, you don't know you're sick sometimes until you run a race. And I'm sure it's true for both of you. You feel okay. You run a race, and then all of a sudden after
that'll expose anything that's possibly wrong with you.
Absolutely.
That's
and then you're
kind of
really
what
sick
happened.
after.
That's what happened to me kind of like at champions
Yeah.
in New England's my junior year, because I was able to finish divisions. I knew what was wrong with me. I had Lyme at the time, but I was able to finish D2s, and I was feeling pretty good with like my treatments and stuff for MOCs in New England's, but I didn't finish either of those races, so it's kind of
And then
it exposes everything.
Yeah. But so then that's how you finish up the cross country season 2020. Am I saying that right? Yeah. But now, here you come in as seniors, still, sitting towards the top and everything. Did your junior year have any? Did that come back in your mind and say, I got to do things different, or whatever the case may be? How did I'm asking, how did your junior year cross country season then help shape your senior year championship run?
I think for me personally, it was just the fact that I was healthy. It was just the fact that I was healthy, and I was able to string together several months, like from the spring to the fall, of straight training for once, and I hadn't been able to do that really at all for my entire high school career. So being able to do that, I think, was extremely helpful because then I felt a lot more confident, and I obviously felt healthy and stronger than I ever had before. And so going into the cross country season that year, I knew I was going to be able to perform better than I had so far. So I was excited.
Yeah, same with me. Basically, I had good confidence coming off of what we had done through the season. We got all the work in, everything. Like everyone was doing really well, and championship season basically played out with like it played out how we thought. Like, I mean, Aiden did a lot more than we all thought he would, but we like state records and all that. But like at divisions, I thought I was having a bad race, and then I see my time, and it was better than I thought, and I didn't realize Aiden just like broke the state record on the divisions course, and like I don't know, it all is crazy how well he did, and it's not like I did bad because I still broke 16 on a course that's like one of the hardest in New England.
Yeah, I was commentating that race, and we were watching everything play out. And
yeah, you guys thought something was wrong with me.
yeah, we were getting nervous that there was something wrong, and then we checked the watch, and stuff, and we're like, no, Aiden's just running out of his mind, which he did.
I'm pretty sure he kept a sub-5 pace up those hills.
Bizarre. That was crazy. So you guys led right up to one of the questions that I have. Cousin, sister, you guys all got the Aiden factor or whatever it is. Like, I can't get a question out of, like, that guy won't give me 3 words when I ask him a question. I've been talking to him, I don't know, for 12 years. How old is he? I've been talking to him since he was born, I think. And he won't give me more than 3 words on anything. Is that Aiden, or is that just simply his cool hand Luke demeanor that he puts out there so nobody can get to him?
No,
What's the
that's
deal with
Aiden.
Aiden?
That's Aiden.
That's Aiden.
Once you get to know him, I think you just don't know him well, and once you get to know him, he'll be fine.
Yeah, like around like the team and stuff, he's a lot more talkative. But when people come up to him at meets and stuff, he does not have a lot to say. That's just his personality.
Yeah, I was gonna say
one thing that's
Don't take offense to it.
I haven't had 2 years of him at the banquet to groom him what to expect. And see, he's missed out on all. He would have been much more talkative now if he'd been to the banquet for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He had to put
maybe he'd be bringing his jump rope.
Yeah, I know.
Well, so I guess, in kind of looking at this whole thing, can you guys just like, what would, if you were to step back now, I mean, your Co-Brown experience isn't quite over, and to be truthful, it probably will never be over. Certainly not as long as your dads are coaching at the school and stuff like that. But like, if you were to just kind of give a overview of what it's been like growing up Co-Brown, what would you say?
I don't know. I would just say like, huh?
It's overall been a pretty positive experience. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see any negatives in it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Luke and I, because we grew up here, I think we've always been really proud of Co-Brown, and I think that will always be that way. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we just have like, there's certain expectations, and we don't even really think of it. Like, from the outside, it might look like pressure and stuff, but I know I just kind of see it as how it's just what we do.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, the last thing give us the best each individual, like, Co-Brown story. You don't have to give out the ones that get people in trouble or anything but like, if there's something that you sit there and say, either this typifies Co-Brown, or like, this is the silliest thing I ever saw happen. I mean, and I'll even start, like, when I look at Landon and all the dubious weird stuff that he does, his ridiculous Black Hammer Tribe thing, and the videos they make, like, I try to ignore that as much as I possibly can. But it is definitely, that is Landon Messinic cross country for sure. I have nothing to do with it. The other kids get dragged in for sure, but that's 100% Landon.
Yeah, I think
you can go.
Honestly, we could both tell you tons of Carter stories. There's tons of stuff that's happened throughout the years with him, and I'm sure he would be glad to come on here and tell you about him, and it would be very different than whatever story anyone else watching had. But honestly, just there's no specific story that can really describe it. But just all the kind of things that have happened, like with the craziness and being in a pandemic with him, not wanting to run at all, and coming back after running, like he did a 2 mile in like 11 minutes. And then all of a sudden he comes back and he places top fourth in the meet of champions. And it's just like, I don't know. It's insane. Like
It's crazy.
running with him. Cause like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, your dad tells the story about, when Carter came out, they had to like turn him around on the first run because he couldn't even finish
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a journey with him.
It really has been.
Carter is the story.
Yeah.
Do
Basically.
you have anything different, Addison, or does that all leak into the girl side of things as well?
No,
Carter
I
takes
think
center seat.
I think that sums it up pretty good. Carter's like the center of our team
Yeah,
and
he's
like
kinda
our
like the mascot.
entertainment, definitely.
The
Yeah.
power, the mascot, the everything
Oh.
funny. I mean,
Yeah.
Carter is a god. Instagram is
Yep.
fantastic.
If something crazy is happening, he's basically at the center of it every day.
Yeah. I just think something to take away from that I've like noticed growing up here and stuff is that our team does have a lot of fun. Like we're very serious when we need to be serious, and I've noticed that over the years. Like on the way to a New England championship meet, I was little and I was on the bus, everyone was very serious. But then on the way home, it was all fun, and like it's just something that I've really noticed over the years, and I think it's
Yep.
really cool just how much fun our team is able to have together, and I really appreciate that and have enjoyed that, especially this year being my last year. So.
Yep. Everyone's got a good relationship with each other. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
You could even say it's almost like your family.
Yeah.
A lot of I'm
Yeah,
related to a
basically.
lot of the people on the team, so
Well, while Aiden doesn't say much, Tyler, on the other hand, is exactly the opposite. I love commentating with him. I remember
Yeah.
sitting out in Hudson at the Alvern course and just talking. Oh, geez,
Oh, yeah.
talking away.
I don't know where
and-
Tyler gets it from.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Hey, Brent. Well, I just wanted to thank you guys for sharing your experience.
no problem.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's been great. And I'm sure Larry will echo this as well. It's been great watching you guys grow up quite literally in front of our eyes,
Yeah.
usually on stage.
Yeah.
And to see you guys have the amount of success that you've had at Co-Brown, your high school careers, but then, really more emphatically, this past season, considering all of the trials and tribulations that life just threw at everybody, but then the other things that you guys overcame and to how, how strong the boys team was, how great the girls team did winning Division twos, and Addie, you taking the meet of champions individually and Division twos. I think it's a phenomenal representation of everything that's Co-Brown and representation of the true people that you guys have become.
Thank
So
you.
thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
I
Thanks a
won't get
lot.
to do it at the banquet like I normally do, but
Yeah,
I'd like
I
to
know.
wish the two of you the best of luck and
Thank you.
goes forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we look forward to seeing your exploits at the college level. I'm not sure I'll be able to get out to see you, Luke, at any point, but I'm sure that I'll find an opportunity to see Addie run up at UNH at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. We travel.
All right,
around.
thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank
right.
you.
Good luck.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Okay.